Hello all, and welcome to this afternoon's beer review. It's a little bit past 5:30 in the afternoon, and I'm looking forward to reviewing this beer, which I am going to dub the post-tropical depression beer review. Literally, it was like I found like a temperature gauge, you know, less than a quarter mile from where I am, online temperature gauge. So I've been checking it quite a bit. If you haven't noticed, I'm a little bit obsessed with the weather. It's one of my things. So it was about 88, 89 degrees earlier today, but with the humidity being in between 85 and 75%, um, the perceived temperature was over 100 degrees, and here I am in my little apartment with no AC or anything, and the trade winds are dead, so it was a very hot day. So I'm looking forward to a beer. And what is it that we are reviewing today? We are reviewing something that oddly I have never reviewed, despite it being one of the stops, you know, in my journey into craft beer. And this is Coedo Beniaka. And this is ale brewed with sweet potatoes. This is, of course, a Japanese beer. Let's read the back here, if I can. Jeez, I need to get glasses. The reddish sparkle of amber and a fragrant sweetness this characterize this unfiltered premium ale, brewed with roasted Kentucky sweet potatoes from Saitama, Japan. Beniaka imparts the perfect balance of smooth caramel, sweetness, and hop bitterness. Hops, Citra, Centennial, Mercat. Okay, I don't know what Mercat is. This is, package 12/21/23. So, yeah, bit past due, but being that this is mostly a malt show, doesn't really matter too much here. Though this is odd because I got this from Tokyo Central, which opened up only around like May. So where was this beer sitting for like the 4 months in between December and, well, 5 months in between December and May? Did it take a slow boat over to Hawaii? Yeah. So I'm going to be, yeah, I found that while there's not a whole bunch of beers I haven't reviewed there, there are quite a few beers I haven't reviewed there. So, I'm going to slowly be working my way through what they have available there. And I'm starting with something that, was a start along my craft beer journey because I remember this one as one of the first craft beers I drank, at a Japanese restaurant. I just wanted something a little bit different than Asahi Super Dry, and this was quite pricey, but very different and noted brewed with roasted sweet potatoes. And being that I am a lover of, sweet potato shochu, or imojochu as it's called, I really love this stuff. It's kind of hard to find a really quality imojochu here in Hawaii. But yeah, it's my favorite drink during winter. Just go and mix up some hot water with imojochu and have it as an oyawari. Um, so yeah, I like sweet potato alcohol, and this is one of them. So the classification on this one is all over the place. Some places classify it as a haposhu, some places have it as an amber ale, others have it as an imperial amber ale at 7.0 ABV. I guess that's imperial strength for an amber ale anyways. And this has been sitting out for a while, so it's probably pretty darn warm, and it's going to make a huge head in my glass. So let's go and try to clear out my nasal passages because I'll need it in this swampy weather here. Okay, let's just go and pour it out now. Yeah, maybe it sat out a little bit too late. Okay. So, nice orange amber color. somewhat opalescent. Light gets through, but you can't really see the carbonation too well. With a thick, fluffy, off-white to beige head. Note is is a brown sugar, some floral and earthy hops, kind of mixing with the malt body there, or should I say malt and sweet potato body there. So creating kind of earthiness. On top of that, some floral notes, mostly malt notes here. It is really hard to nose this right now with the way the weather is. Yeah, so roasted sweet potato, like yaki imo. Brown sugar. Brown sugar more dominates earthiness. Yeah. Some slight cola-like notes. All in all, a pretty interesting bouquet. Onto the palate now, shall we? Okay. Hmm. Slight hop bitterness up front. Somewhat chewy. Thick. In the long finish, there's some slight bitterness from the hops, and also a roasted note, but the roast is very different from, like, say, a porter or stout roast. It's not coffee-like. It's not, um, well, I guess it's a little bit reminiscent of toasted bread, but it's not quite like that. Up front, there's some sweetness behind that subtle hop bitterness. Sort of round earthiness in the front to mids. That, when combined with the sweetness, is very evocative of sweet potato, but not quite like tasting a sweet potato itself. Mm. Some char, roasted sugar, caramel in the mids. What it reminds me of is not so much actual sweet potato itself, but in fire roasted sweet potato or yaki imo, if it's actually roasted on coals, is sort of underneath the skin. There's kind of like a caramelized layer of sugars between the skin and the actual roasted sweet potato itself, where the fire kind of caramelizes that layer. It's very evocative of that, and not so much of like the meat of the sweet potato itself. And like I said, it also kind of mixes in um, roasted brown bread like notes as well. I mean, toasted brown bread like notes as well. Um, Flavors are not overly distinct. They're not popping, but like I said, this beer is somewhat old. Age tends to go and blend that spectrum a little bit. But tell the truth, the times that I've had it, it's been a while since I've had it last, but the times I've had it, it's different and interesting, but it's not the kind of beer that pops, where the flavor notes boom right out. All in all, a fairly pleasant ale. Um, your mileage may vary with this. This is up my alley because I like those potatoes, roasted sweet potato like notes to it. It's definitely, I wouldn't pair this with like sushi or, anything, or even tempura. It's anything, it's too dark for something light and delicate in flavor. I would definitely save it for like say Japanese curry, um, tonkotsu here in Hawaii, katsu, um, or my favorite pairing, though I only had that once, is probably excuse me. What would be my favorite pairing? Yeah. No, no, I'm making a mistake. I had it with yakisoba. Yeah, I had it, but not okonomiyaki. Yeah, I had it with yakisoba, but not okonomiyaki. Though I would think that this would go extremely well with okonomiyaki. Went well with yakisoba as well, but I'm not as much a fan of yakisoba as I am of okonomiyaki. And I'm sure there's some people here probably wondering what I'm yammering on about in regards to Japanese food. Yakisoba is sort of like a stir-fried noodle dish. And okonomiyaki is sort of like a savory, almost a savory pancake of sorts, and is one of my favorite Japanese foods. Though in Japan itself, I don't think that is considered like Japanese. I think it's considered like a Western influence food. I don't know. Um, there's probably people on here who can go and tell me what it's considered better. Yeah, Coedo, Coedo, Coedo Beniaka. It's sort of an amber ale brewed with sweet potato. Again, an interesting beer. It doesn't really sparkle or blow away, but it's different. It has some interesting taste notes. If you're really into sweet potatoes like I am, definitely give this one a shot. If you're into amber ales, it's worth a shot too. I mean, if you're looking for something that's a hop show, probably not up your alley. If you're looking for something that's light, not up your alley. Yeah. And that, folks, is your beer review for this afternoon. Cheers.